staff does. So it'll be fun to go up there and play.
Mentioned before your defensive players. Chris Favaroso is going to be our guest coming up next. What about his season so far?
He's an outstanding young man. I'm really impressed the way he came into our program last year as a transfer, integrated himself right in with all the other guys. Really good person off the field. Quiet leader, not outspoken on the field, but he does everything the right way. Really happy to have him. I think he's having a great year. Look for him to continue to put pressure on the quarterback as the weeks go on.
Jerry, thanks a bunch. Appreciate it. Best of luck against Sacred Heart. We'll catch up again before Wagner.
Sounds good. Thanks, Tim.
Chris Favaroso, as we mentioned, up next as we continue here on the Duquesne University Coaches Show, brought to you by UPMC and Red Ring Bar and Grill. Welcome back to AT&T Sportsnet. Tim Benz with you on the Duquesne University Football Coaches Show. Our thanks to Jerry Schmidt for joining us before the commercial break. Back now with Chris Favaroso, defensive lineman for the Duquesne Dukes, grad student in his senior year with Duquesne. Well-traveled. Chris, welcome to the program. And let's talk a little bit about how you wound up on the Bluff. It's had a couple stops along the way, Appalachian State. You also played at Arizona Western and Montana before you came here. How did it come to pass that you wound up with Duquesne, and how happy are you that your football career has come here?
Well, I'm really glad to be here. I've definitely been all over the place, and when I was at App State, I thought it was a great place. I just didn't feel like the defense really fit me that well, so I went to Arizona Western to get re-recruited. Got re-recruited to Montana. Had a great relationship with the coaches, and the coaches got fired, unfortunately. So I went on the recruiting trail again, and I just thought that Duquesne had the best coaching staff, and they just really felt homely to me, and I just had a great relationship with them from the start. So I chose to come here, and I'm really glad that I'm here now.
Well, let's talk about the specifics about why you liked Duquesne's defensive system, why you liked Montana's old system as opposed to maybe what you would have fallen into. A big jump, isn't it? Even though like a lot of people see it as almost interchangeable to be a rush end and also a linebacker, but
Yeah.
it's not the same, is it?
No, it's not at all. So at Montana, before the coaches got fired there, I played exactly that, which was a rush end, stand up, and that's like where I really pictured myself. So when I was getting recruited here, I mean, I'm sure everyone knows Christian Kuntz. They were sending me videos of him and saying like, this is what we want you to do and this and that, and this is the kind of position we want you to play. So that's something that really appealed to me.
How have you felt things have gone since you came to Duquesne? You've been a force when it comes to other teams having to deal with you in the pass rush department, and as you mentioned, that was the ticket to come here. So do you feel like your skills have been best used since you got to Duquesne?
Yeah, absolutely. I've had a great time the past 2 years, especially in the city of Pittsburgh. I really love it here. Unfortunately, last year, we were talking about before, I got hurt, and it was unfortunate. But this year, I just wanted to make a mark. The last couple of games, I played more of it inside, but I'm not sure what we're doing this weekend exactly yet. But, I mean, I just feel really comfortable in the defense. I really love it, and I really love the coaches.
So even though they've bumped you inside a little bit more often, you're still getting free reign to get up the field after the quarterback?
More in pass rushing situations, but just like in pass rushing situations, it's more of a rush and linebacker-ish, and that's where I really feel comfortable.
When you've talked to the coaches about that, has the message been because they want to give opposing offenses a different look?
Yeah, it's exactly what it was. It was actually against Dayton. We were having a little trouble with the four-man front, and they bumped me and the other defensive end inside to shoot the inside gaps, and it actually really worked really well in the run game. So that's something we've been doing a lot in the run game.
Is that also because you've got some more talent that could be supported on the outside, and you can be afforded to move in too?
Yes, but unfortunately been kind of riddled with injuries a little bit.
To that point, then, you come off the bye against LIU, and with some of the injuries you guys have been dealing with, have you found that it's been beneficial to get this week off as you start to go into the rest of NEC play?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, get everyone healthy. I mean, I was actually sick too during the LIU game, so it was good to get an extra weekend.
Now, you mentioned the injury last year, and it's funny to say this, for all the things that could go right or wrong on a football field. You get your finger torn up because it got stuck in the quarterback's jersey against Hawaii.
And it's so stupid that it was a finger, and that I don't know if you saw me play last year. I had a huge club going from my finger all the way up my entire arm.
It looked more significant than just a finger, so to speak.
So it was actually pretty significant. The blood vessels and the bone all got like torn up, so they had to reconnect it, put a pin in it, and the pin couldn't move at all. Or else I would have to get surgery again. So they had to really protect it. It was pretty not fun to play with, I can tell you that.
Well, I can imagine that. And how hard was it to fight through with the cast? Because so much of the interior battle is won and lost with your hand placement and the execution of what you do with your hands on both sides of the ball for the offensive and defense.
Well, I can't tell you how many times I got my arm wrapped around somebody and I couldn't grab or anything like that. It was just my club like on the person's body, and you'd think that would be enough, but I mean, my club's just on them. I'm trying to grab my other arm, I can't reach, and it was really difficult, and I didn't enjoy it that much. But I'm glad to be back without it now.
Full range, everything's okay now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm good to go.
Now, as far as your defense went against LIU, it was a really fine performance throughout most of the game, and then LIU kind of made it close at the end. What were the discussions like on the field? The quarterback, Beathard, was impressive. He kept plays alive. He had a pretty decent arm. What were you guys saying on the sidelines, in between series, or in the huddle when you were taking the field again?
Well, it was definitely too close for comfort, but I found that this defense has really stepped up in big times, especially against teams like Dayton, LIU. You look back at the games where it was close on the line, the defense really stepped up in a big way, and I think that shows a lot of what we're about this season. You
were really opportunistic. Jerry used that word when he was on with us earlier. Davon Ellison crystallized that with the turnovers he had, but the fumble that was caused by Todd Hill close to the goal line, that was huge for you guys.
Yeah, it absolutely was a turning point in the game. Everyone was really excited, and it's great to have a freshman step up in a big way like that.
Now you got Sacred Heart coming up, and as Jerry was talking to us, you can almost set your clock to how this rivalry is going to go. What's been your experience playing against the Pioneers in the past, and how do you think that this will repeat itself this time?
Well, they definitely are a tough team, and I've only been here for a year, but I know how big of a rivalry it is. And I mean, I'm really excited, and I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm not the only one on the defensive line. I think we're going to have a really big weekend.
What do you remember about them last year? How are they similar? How are they different?
I know last year they had a 2 running back system where they had 2 guys really were just workhorses. I don't think they passed as much. Looking at the film this year, I think they're more of a passing team compared to last year. One of their key running backs got hurt, and he was their number one. I remember him from last year. He was really good, and I think they miss him, so they kind of moved towards passing a little bit more.
Listen, Chris, appreciate it. If you're moving towards passing, get a few sacks.
Yeah,
that'll be fun. Glad to have you on board. Thanks for making a visit, and best of luck against Sacred Heart.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right, when we come back, we'll go behind the numbers, the history of the rivalry against Sacred Heart University. That's when we come back on AT&T Sportsnet. Welcome back to the Duquesne University Coaches Show here on AT&T Sportsnet, brought to you by UPMC and Red Ring Bar and Grill. Time for us now to go behind the numbers, brought to you by Schneider Downs, as we take a closer look at the Sacred Heart Duquesne rivalry. The 2018 Northeast Conference co-champions Duquesne and Sacred Heart will square off on Saturday in Fairfield, Connecticut in the 15th installment of the series between the Dukes and the Pioneers. Duquesne is 10-4 all-time against Sacred Heart in the series, which dates back to the 2001 season. The Dukes have won 4 straight over the Pioneers, including the last 2 meetings in Fairfield. All told, Duquesne is 5-1 on the road against Sacred Heart. Duquesne is 8-3 against the Pioneers in the NEC era. In 3 games against Sacred Heart, A.J. Hines has rushed for 387 yards with 6 touchdowns. That'll do it for us this week here in the Duquesne University Football Coaches Show. When we come back next week, we'll look at how the game turned out against Sacred Heart, and we'll preview the home game against Wagner on October the 26th on the campus of Duquesne University. Have a good week, everybody.